Hi! In the last video I spoke about using meditation for keeping your mind clear of negative thoughts, which in turn will keep your dreams free of the distractions that those thoughts create, and how this will go a long way in helping you to maintain lucidity. And once you've got the hang of this, you probably want to start thinking about what you're going to do with your newfound lucid dreaming godlike powers. And this is where your dream journal will come in handy again. Make a new section in there called Dream Goals, where you write down all of the things that you want to do while you're dreaming. And remember, you're limited only by your imagination. Quite a common thing that people want to try when they first start lucid dreaming is flying. There's something about defying gravity, that law that's kept us down our entire lives. Finally being free of that is a huge appeal, and I'd have to admit, it was one of my first dream goals when I was a child. So in this new section in your dream journal, you'd write down the basic goal, which in this case would be take off and fly. And then underneath you make a list of all the methods that you plan to use in order to achieve this goal. One of the first methods that I used for flying was to stand on the spot and lift one leg. I'd balance there and then lift up the other leg. I'd find myself floating with both legs in the air, and then I'd hover up a few feet and lean in the direction that I wanted to fly. This was a nice, simple, safe method for when I was still a novice. When I got a bit more confident, I'd start to run and jump to take off. I'd run a little bit faster and jump a little bit higher each time, and then jump over something like a car, maybe a tree, and even over a house until eventually I'd take off. My brother, who developed these methods and taught me them, he had perfected this into a hop, skip, jump and take off method, and I adopted that as well until we saw the Superman movie. Of course, after seeing Superman, who would take off from a standing position, arm in the air and whoosh, we decided that's the way to do it. Sometimes I'd find it difficult to get off the ground, so I'd use my arms like wings until I was up in the air, and then, arms outstretched, I'd fly off. I could then also use my hands as a kind of rudder for controlling the direction as well. Nowadays, my most common method for flying is to jump from a high window or a tall building, but I always double check with a reality test first. It can seem so real when you're standing at an open window, stories high with the wind in your face. I just like to do a fail-safe reality check, which usually involves pushing out the window or pushing out the entire wall before I jump out, just to be sure. Feel free to use any of these methods in any order you like, and develop your own if you want. And if you're 100% sure that you're asleep and dreaming, then by all means jump from the top of a tall building. But I must warn you that 9 times out of 10, falling and hitting the ground will result in you waking up. And I just think it's easier to get accustomed to flying using something that you're familiar with. So running and jumping is something that's easy to imagine, going that little bit further each time rather than soaring through the air and not knowing what to expect. I think it was Bill Hicks who once warned, if you ever feel like you can fly, take off from the ground rather than from a tall building, just in case you're wrong. So you'll write all these methods down under the dream goal section in your journal and run through them as often as possible, again preferably during your middle of the night induction. And as you drift off to sleep, just imagine finding yourself in a lucid dream, remembering your dream goal and trying out the different methods that you've planned to use, and before you know it, you'll be flying through the air, defying gravity, and it's an amazing feeling when it happens. And this is just one of the many possibilities that are available in lucid dreaming. But as I've said before, in my opinion, the best use of the ability is for personal development and inner healing, because although it's great fun to do all of the things that you can't normally do in the real world, like running really fast and jumping over houses, flying over towns and walking through walls, seducing women, driving fast cars, destroying things, visiting alien worlds, feeling like a superhero, acting like a god, travelling back in time, travelling forward through time, and all the other amazing possibilities that lucid dreaming opens up to us. At the end of the day, you're just messing around inside your own head. You're showing off to yourself. It's just you inside your own mind. But that's equally one of the best things about it, being able to go into your own mind and explore your subconscious from inside. And that's something that I'm going to talk about in more detail later on. But in the next video, I'm going to look at another very common lucid dream goal: dream sex.